Hello, everybody. Bryony Zasman here, and thank you so much for joining me today. We are super excited to have you here because we're going to be giving you a sneak peek at what we're building, which is a way that you can create virtual samples quickly and easily. Now, some of you have attended our demo days before and know about ZOOMstudio, but we're going to start the presentation by just doing a recap of what ZOOMstudio is. And the reason is because that we are building the virtual sample add-on inside of ZOOMstudio to start. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and jump right in. All right. So just a quick agenda. We're going to start by looking at why we built ZOOMstudio. And again, this is relevant because the virtual tool is going to be part of ZOOMstudio, at least in the first few phases. Then we're going to look at what ZOOMstudio is, who uses it. We're going to create some content, and then we're going to look at the virtual add-on. The virtual add-on is a tool that we are currently building, and we're shooting to roll it out at the end of Q2 or around the end of Q2. We have some suppliers that are joining our launch program, which if it's something you're interested in, let us know. And that means we'll work with your data and ensure you get that fully set up and ready to roll on the launch date that we get the product out. But we'll talk a bit more about that later. So about ZOOMstudio, I wanted to give a little background as to why we built ZOOMstudio. Our industry has been undergoing a digital transformation for a very long time now, although it's been fairly slow. Things sped up during COVID, and we are seeing more and more distributors and suppliers looking to technology to improve their operational processes and how they do business. It is imperative that suppliers look at ways in which they can digitally transform their business to keep up with competitors. A really good example of this is looking at the process of creating a catalog. When we started Zoom Catalog back in 2009, suppliers were heavily dependent on creating catalogs, printing them, and shipping them out to distributors. And that's how distributors would find product information and share them with their customers. We decided to build Zoom Catalog to make those digital and get them online and make it easier to find and share. However, things are changing further, and we're helping with that transformation. We know that creating a catalog, even for digital, is extremely time consuming. It's difficult to put them together. It requires experts. And then once you have it up and running, it's hard to keep up to date. ZOOMstudio is a product of exactly that. We wanted to look at the process of creating content and how we could make it easier, not only to create, but also publish, share, and track that content that you're putting out there. Another huge catalyst for us creating ZOOMstudio were the volatile supply chains. We work with almost every supplier in the industry hosting their catalogs, and during COVID, it became very challenging to keep those catalogs up to date. Although it is much easier to keep a digital catalog up to date versus a print catalog, it still takes time because you need your designers to go into your design files, export, and upload to Zoom. So when pricing was changing every day, this became a bit of a liability. So we wanted to look at how we could solve this and make it much faster and easier and automatic to update your content by connecting to your product data. We're also seeing changing expectations from buyers. Distributors want things to be seamless and simple and quick, and their customers expect the same, so our end users of promotional products. This means suppliers need to look at how they are servicing their distributors and what tools they're providing distributors to sell their products. Distributors want quick, simple tools that they can use to create the presentations they need, to create virtual samples, and to get those ideas out to their customers. By adopting technology like ZOOMstudio, you can meet these expectations that distributors and end buyers have. And then, of course, there is the growing need for custom content. After launching Zoom Catalog, we launched Zoom Custom, which was a platform that allowed distributors to add their logo and contact information to supplier unbranded catalogs and flyers. This was hugely successful because distributors want to present content as their own. However, there are requests to go further than that, and it is increasing day to day. Distributors not only want to rebrand the content, but often they want to choose what products are included. They want to mark up pricing. They want to make changes that can be really challenging when you're working with digital files in InDesign or Illustrator. These custom needs are hard to meet, but with ZOOMstudio, we make it really simple, and either your team can meet those needs or distributors can self-serve. And we'll show you that again with ZOOMstudio in a moment. So what is ZOOMstudio? ZOOMstudio is the industry's smartest and easiest design tool, enabling you to create custom content at scale. Who uses ZOOMstudio? Well, we built it for everyone. Your marketing team, your sales team, your designers, distributors, and anyone else in between. We wanted to build a platform that was so simple to use that even the most untech savvy could create something that looked awesome. We also wanted to unblock your team from being able to, having to go to designers to get what they needed to present products. So ZOOMstudio enables anyone to create what they need to make sure it's on brand, accurate, professional, and easy to share. And we'll talk about the use cases in a little bit, but it can be used for marketing content like catalogs and lookbooks. It can be used for sales content like presentations or idea boards. Your design team can use it for social media content. And of course, distributors can create it for whatever they need, whether they're looking to create content to share on social media and their website, or if they're working with a specific project for a customer and need to put some ideas together. The benefits of ZOOMstudio are kind of obvious after giving my intro, but I'll run through these quickly. Number one, you're going to be able to create and capture more demand. What that means is we know as suppliers, you often get requests pretty much every day for content. So distributors need a presentation for that, or they want you to customize your flyer for them so they can post it here. It's hard to fulfill these requests, which means not only is it hard to capture that incoming demand, you definitely can't create more demand. With a tool like ZOOMstudio, you can create everything you need, and you can also be a bit more proactive. So you can put more lookbooks out there, vertical market content. You can use it for upselling or prospecting. Also with ZOOMstudio, your team can collaborate more and make better decisions. We'll show you our team dashboard, but your team now can work together on designs, share amongst each other, see what's working and see what's not working. Obviously, you can also design more without spending more. Now, when you need to put a lookbook together or a flyer together, you can do that quickly without employing your designers or outsourcing that work, which means you can expand your design capabilities without adding additional costs or additional people. And you can create content in minutes, not hours, or even days or weeks. We know a really nice big catalog can often take months to put together. You'll see once we jump into ZOOMstudio how that can be done within minutes. We bring all the assets you need into the tool in one place so that you can create with confidence. So let's take a look. I'm going to give a really quick tour of ZOOMstudio, and I'm going to keep it really short because lots of you here have already seen it or even have it. For those of you that don't have it or anyone that would like to get a more in-depth look, definitely reach out and we'd be happy to jump on a one-on-one. So we're going to set you up with your own ZOOMstudio, with your own branding and your own link. So you can use this on your website and share it with your team. When somebody enters your ZOOMstudio, they have a couple options. One, they can use templates, which I'll discuss in a moment. They can go access their previous designs, or they can choose to use our Make It Quick editor or our Start from Scratch editor, which is a little bit more advanced. Today, I'm going to show you our Make It Quick editor to create a quick catalog. Now let's set up a use case because, as mentioned, I could be in here making a seasonal lookbook for summer products to use in our general marketing, or I could be a sales rep and I'm on the phone with a distributor and I need to put some product ideas together because they want to see purple items under $5 that are great for schools. So whatever that use case is, we can match. But in my case, I'm a sales rep and I want to put a few summer products together for a customer that needs to present these items to their customer. So we'll start by entering our design settings. I'm going to add in here a name. So we'll do summer lookbook. We can support additional currencies. So if you do offer different currencies, we can make sure they are plugged in. And then I can choose my page orientation, portrait or landscape. Lastly, my logo by default will be here. So if I'm logged in as a supplier team member, it will be the supplier logo. If I'm logged in as a distributor, it's going to be my logo. I can switch this. So if I am a rep and I'm making it for someone else, I can come in here and upload any logos that I need or find logos that I previously uploaded. And then I can select that one to be used in the design instead. Now, again, I'm going to move pretty quickly here. If you have questions, feel free to type them in the chat box. We'll run through them in Q&A at the end. But I'm going to go ahead and make a really simple lookbook. So when we're in the tool, you'll notice that it is a very simple tool. There's not a ton of options, and this is by design because we wanted to make it so simple that anyone can use ZOOMstudio to create what they need. On the left, we have our pages. In the middle, we have our page. And most importantly, on top of the page, we have what we call our smart layout. This smart layout is a basic one. It's just 4 products and a logo, but I can go to manage my page here, and I can choose an alternative layout depending on what I'm creating. In this case, I'm making a small lookbook, so I want to change the first page to be a cover page. So the smart layout is just a compilation of content blocks. This specific cover page layout is an image block, a title block, and a logo block. When I add another page, you'll see that we can also have product blocks, but all I need to do is click on each one and add the necessary content. So first I'll add a title. And then I'm going to add an image. When I click on an image block, I get our asset library, and there's a couple options. One, I can upload assets and save them to my account or use something that I previously uploaded. This means that distributors will have all their assets saved that they're uploading, as are your team members. You also have a shared library. This is where, as a supplier owner of the tool, you can upload all your lifestyle shots, your catalog photography, your brand elements, and make them available within the tool so that users can enhance their designs with the assets that you have on hand. And we've also partnered with Unsplash, which is a library of thousands of royalty-free stock images. So I can come in here, search by keyword, and find the perfect image to use in my design. So I'll pop that in there, and my cover page is ready. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is add a page. When I go add a page, I can add a single page or a spread. A single page is great for presentations and flyers. Spread is going to give you that Zoom catalog look or a catalog or lookbook feel. So I'm going to add a spread for this specific walkthrough, which is 2 pages side by side. And then on each page, I have a smart layout. I'm going to start by changing the layout on each side. So I'm going to go to Manage Page and go to the left and change this layout to the basic half and half, which is half images and half products. I'm also going to turn off the logo. So I can configure this how best to suit my presentation or project. Then I'll go to the right and switch this one out. And we'll do 3 stacked products, turn off the logo. All right, so now what I need to do is click on each block to add the content. With the product blocks, we launch our search modal. And this is one of the most important parts of the tool. We're going to connect your product data to your ZOOMstudio so that users can search across your products and find exactly what they need. So I can now find the results based on a keyword search, product ID, etc. And I can also choose my color variation. That'll show me the appropriate product image. And all I need to do is click add, and it comes onto the page with all of the up-to-date, accurate product information. This in and of itself is a huge time saver. If you've ever tried to put a product into a design in Illustrator or InDesign, you know you're copying and pasting, you're trying to find the right resolution images. It is extremely tedious and time consuming. With this, you're popping the products in right where you need them, and you'll be able to search and find exactly what you need. So we'll go ahead and fill up our layout with our products that we want to present to this customer. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and add an image here to enhance my design. So we'll search Unsplash again, find the right shot. And there we go. So now I have my layout done. A couple other notes here that I do have full control over the product details showing on the page. You can see when I click on a product to edit it, that I can mark up pricing, rename it, I can turn pricing on and off, choose alternative colors, so I can make the necessary changes depending on what I'm presenting. Another thing I want to mention is you'll notice there are product details in this list that are not showing on the page. And this is another challenge when it comes to designing catalogs. You have a lot of information that you need to give to the ultimate end buyer, but it takes too much space when you cram it all on the page. However, those details are crucial. So what we've done is we've introduced what we call the sidebar, and I'll show you once I publish what that looks like. What it means is when I'm viewing this published piece, I can click on an item to view all the product details, making the piece a lot more shoppable. So I'm not going to add another layout because we are short on time here and I want to make sure we go through the virtuals add-on, but I'm going to go ahead and publish. Of course, I could add as many layouts as I want, different products, different smart layouts, and create a really nice dynamic piece. Once I publish, I get a link instantly that I can now send over to my customer. I can pop it in an email, post it on social, use it on my website, put it in an email blast, my email signature. You can use these anywhere. When somebody opens that link, they'll access your piece and then can browse. So here's my catalog, and the person viewing can also click on any of these products to view that additional product information that I mentioned didn't fit on the page. I can view the additional product images, read the description, see the colors, pricing, etc. So I can browse all these pieces or these products and choose what I need. Now, if the distributor is like, hey, this piece is great, but before I send it to my customer, can you just switch out the maple leaf sunglasses? This is now a really simple process. You're not going back to your designer. All we need to do is jump back into the design, make the change, and publish those changes. That will automatically update the link that you've already shared. So it will show the new version to whoever's viewing. Now, if you think of this in the marketing use case, if you have created a summer lookbook that you are posting everywhere and you suddenly discontinue a product, you are able to easily get that product out of that piece and ensure that anybody viewing isn't seeing something you're no longer selling. So being able to manage these pieces and update them instantly is going to make your lives a lot more easier compared to the manual process of updating design files. So that's a really quick walkthrough of ZOOMstudio. Would love to give you a deeper dive if you're interested, so reach out for a one-on-one, but I'm going to head back to my presentation and talk more about what we're doing with virtual samples. So we are building the fastest way to create virtual samples. We work with many suppliers in the industry, and we've spoken to all of them about their virtual sample challenges. Every supplier has the exact same pain point, and that is it's very difficult to fulfill virtual sample requests because they are just too time consuming. Suppliers are either doing these in-house with dedicated resources or outsourcing the creation of virtual samples. And that means there is a limitation on what can be created. More than likely, you as a supplier have requests that do go unfulfilled due to these limitations. And that is why we wanted to make sure that when we built our virtual sample solution, we focused on speed as the #1 thing to create the tool that's going to make life easier for your team and your distributors. So just to kind of give some background and insight on these conversations we had with suppliers, ultimately, suppliers struggle with virtual samples because there are slow turnaround times on creating them, which ultimately leads to lost customers. Also, the slow turnaround times cause slow sales cycles, and ultimately it is just very difficult to fulfill the requests that are coming from distributors or hoping to sell your products today. In addition to that, a lot of suppliers are really struggling to create all the variations they need of virtual samples. Now, this of course depends on your product line and the types of products you offer, but we have many suppliers who get requests where a distributor needs like 20 or 50 virtual samples at a time. They want to see the logo on the product, but in all the colors available, or they want to see it on several different mugs and different styles. Getting a request for this many virtuals can be a huge burden and difficult to fulfill. And over and above that, you definitely, if you're struggling to create what is coming in as requests, you're definitely not creating virtuals as a proactive selling tool. So for example, using virtual samples for upsells. When a distributor says, hey, I really love this backpack and I want to present it, can you make me a virtual? Ideally, you could present 3 more similar bags that have the logo on it and create additional virtuals to do those upsells. So again, we wanted to build a tool that allows you to create virtual samples quickly, which will ultimately allows you to create many variations and create additional virtual samples that might not be exactly what the customer needs, but is going to help the sale in the long run. And then the other huge thing is that suppliers today who are creating virtual samples are sharing them as either PDFs or images like PNGs and JPEGs. The problem with this is once you create and share that virtual sample, you have no idea what's happening with it. It's out there in the wild. You don't know if it was viewed, shared, or what's going on. So another huge part was that we wanted to make sure we built a tool that gave you the insight and tracking that you don't have today. So the analytics are a very important part of this and can be used heavily by your sales team, because they will now know if a distributor has viewed the virtuals, if they've shared them on, and what they're doing with those virtual samples you're creating. As mentioned, we're also building a tool that anyone can use. So very similar to what I said about ZOOMstudio, we do not want this to be a tool that just your design team or your marketing team uses. We wanted to make a tool that anyone can use, ensure things look good, and that it's simple to do. So this is going to be a tool that your sales team can use, your marketing team can use, your distributors can use, not just experienced designers. It also means you can create virtual samples in seconds or minutes rather than days and weeks. We're using your product data to also make the tool more powerful. And when I get into our prototypes to show you how the tool will function, I'll make this a bit more clear. But by using your imprint data, we can enhance the tool and the user experience, as well as the speed at which virtual samples can be set up and created. So if you have promo standards set up or imprint data in a spreadsheet, we'll be able to utilize that to make the tool stronger and more powerful. And what we mean by imprint data is your imprint locations, your imprint sizes, your imprint methods, and so forth. And again, I'll get to that and show you how it applies. And then one other huge important piece of this is that we do have our shared asset library, which again is going to speed up the creation of virtual samples. Each of your team members will have a library of logos that they've saved so they can access them quickly in the future rather than having to search for that file when they need to create something. Same for distributors, they'll be able to save all their customer logos in the tool together. So when they come back to create a virtual sample in the future, they'll find the logo they need quickly. Now, as mentioned, this is a tool we are currently building. So this is underway and going to be rolled out at the end of Q2, right around that time. We are working with a select few suppliers right now to get them set up and integrated. And if that's something you're interested in being part of, just let us know. We'd be happy to give you more information. Or you're more than welcome to wait for us to roll the tool out in a couple months. But because the tool is being built, I don't have a fully functioning interface to show you. So what I have is 2 prototypes, which is going to be an exact replica of what it will look like and how it will function. So that is what I'm going to be using today to give you an idea of the virtual sample add-on we're building for ZOOMstudio. So I'm going to jump in there and we can take a look. All right, so this is our prototype of creating virtual samples in a design. So a few moments ago, I showed you how I came in here and created the summer lookbook in a couple minutes. This is exactly the same entry point where I've started a new design, and my first step is to enter my design settings. I give it a name, I choose my currency, and I have my logo that applies to the footer and the cover pages. Now, what is new is our virtuals tab. When I'm doing my design settings, I can choose the logo I want applied to any products that I add to my presentation or catalog that I'm creating. So I'll toggle over to that, and I'm going to select the logo I want applied to the items. Now I will be able to upload a logo. So I'm making a presentation. I'm a distributor making a presentation for my customer. I would upload their logo here. Or if a distributor has sent your sales rep a logo, they can upload it here. And then we will have some tools for logo cleanup. Now with the first release, version 1 at the end of Q2, we will have the option to remove the background from a logo, as well as change the color of this logo. We are going to have some additional functionality that we add to this down the road in phase 2 and phase 3. such as the ability to change the color of different areas of a logo so I can achieve a 2-color imprint or a 4-color imprint. Once I've cleaned up my logo, I'll save it and I will select it so that it is now part of the settings for this piece. I'll save my settings and I can get started. So as a reminder, I have my page. On my page, I have my layout and I can add products or change the page layout as needed. So I'll click to add a product and I'll be able to search and find the products I want to use in this design. In this case, I'm going to choose these 4 products. And when I go ahead and add them, instantly they are going to come through with the logo applied to each. Now, to speak a bit about this, where the logo lands up on the product is going to be decided by the dashboard each supplier has to configure their product imprint areas. With product data, we can get the primary imprint location for each of your items and each color of those items. So for example, if you have a hoodie, we know that there's some imprint locations such as left chest, right chest, full chest. And with promo standards specifically, there is one of those defined as the primary imprint location. And that is where the logo is going to drop when we add a product. So each product will have its primary imprint location, which will help us know where to place the logo at first. However, the user may want it in one of those other imprint locations. So each product will be able to be individually configured as needed. So I'll see all the logos on the product, but if I say, on this hoodie, I really wanted it on the chest, not in the full center. All I need to do is click on that one product, go edit the virtual sample, and choose from the other imprint areas available. And this ties back to what I mentioned earlier, where we're going to be using your imprint data to empower the tool. So we will know what imprint areas to list here and give the user options of. So I'm going to go ahead and choose instead the front right pocket, and I'll be able to switch that, which will update my project with the imprint area I've selected. I can also make some other changes. For example, I can change the color of just this logo. So say, for example, this specific hoodie was white. So my white logo looks great on all the other items, but in this case, I can't see it. Well, I can change the color and choose a different color for this product only. And then lastly, I could even replace this logo entirely. So the default logo for all the items looks great, but in one specific product, I needed an alternative version of the logo, maybe a stacked version. I'd be able to upload and replace the logo on that item. So I get the option to make the individual changes on these products, but when I first add them, the logo is going to pop into that primary imprint location. This is going to speed things up. You can add products to your design super quickly. You can choose the variations you need. That logo is going to be automatically applied. Just to talk about the dashboard a little bit more, when you come on board with this product, you're going to get a dashboard that is already connected to your product data. You're going to see all your products there, all your product images there, and then the imprint areas and imprint locations associated with each item and each color of each item. You will need to configure the actual imprint location, which is a really simple tool that we have. So you'll have to have some setup there, and it's something we can assist with. So if you're interested in learning more about that, let's chat. But that initial setup is going to power the tool, and you'll be able to access that dashboard whenever you need. So for example, if you have a new product launch, you'll be able to quickly go in there and configure the new products that you've added. Now, we also understand that some products are more complicated than other products, and I wanted to address this to make sure that it's very clear in what we're doing with that. So we are building this product in phases. Phase 1, we are going to be supporting flat and rotated imprint locations or imprint areas. So for example, all 4 of these are flat logos where they're straight on. A rotated imprint area would be, for example, if I took a photo of a pen and rather than taking it straight on, I took the pen and I rotated it at an angle. I could actually set that imprint area at an angle so that the logo fit on the product properly. Phase 2, which is going to be Q3, Q4, we're going to be adding support for wraps and tilts on the imprint areas. This means if you have a full wrap pen or a full wrap mug, you'll be able to wrap the logo around those items. Tilts would be, say you had a backpack, and again, you didn't shoot it straight on, where it is a flat logo, but you didn't shoot it straight on, you took it at a little bit of an angle. You'll be able to tilt your imprint area so that it lays into that spot. And this is going to be done in the setup so that the tilts and wraps will be known in the back end. So when I add the logo or add the product and the logo is placed on the item, it's automatically going to conform to the item properly. So the user is not going to be messing with and tweaking the logo to try to get it look right. And then, of course, there's going to be those even more complicated products, which is a small percentage of items. I mean, for some suppliers, there's obviously a larger number, but for the majority of our suppliers, it's a small segment. And those are products that are really complicated. So an example would be a ribbon or a lanyard where it's twisted, and we need step and repeat logo on this twisted thing. Of course, those are going to be much more difficult to configure, so we'd likely have to do custom setups for those specific items. So depending on the popularity of those items, we may build tools to address them or configure them on an individual basis for the customer. That being said, as we build this in phases, we do not anticipate being able to do virtual samples for 100% of your products on day one. It's going to be something we do over time. However, the majority of your products should be perfectly fine with our phase 1 and phase 2 that we're launching. And the way that you'll be able to handle this within the tool is when you're in the dashboard, you will have an option to virtual enable a product. So you can have some of your products virtual enabled versus others, which is something you can expand on and add more virtual enabled products over time. Then from a user perspective, when they come in this tool to create something, let's just get this open here. When I go to add a product, I'm going to be able to see an icon of which of these items are virtual enabled, and I'll also have a filter to view just the virtual enabled items. So I'll be able to choose those based on what is available there. And when new ones are available, of course, they'll get the tag. If we can just support maybe 70–80% of your virtual products for virtual samples, we're already taking a massive chunk of work off your plate. So hopefully that makes sense. We just want full transparency on that. We're not anticipating having your super custom complicated product with many angles and things working perfectly in here from day one, but it is something we'll get to. But we do anticipate being able to support most of your products as we get the first couple phases of this tool built. Now I want to give you another view of how this tool will be beneficial for your users and your team. Now, I actually didn't mention this yet, but when you create designs within ZOOMstudio, you can actually publish them as an editable template. What this means is when you share it with somebody, they can make it their own before sharing. So the use case in one case would be that you make an awesome new flyer for a product line that you just released, and you publish it as a template. You can then share that template with your entire team or all your sales reps so they can customize it for each of their distributors. Or you can put it on your website so distributors can go customize it for themselves. So it would look exactly like you published it. So in this case, we have our sunglasses and our images, but they can go in and maybe switch out some products, add their branding, add pages, remove pages, mark up the pricing. They can make it their own before publishing. You also get the option to build out a library of templates. So you can add all of these pre-designed editable pieces, whether they're vertical market flyers, product presentations, lookbooks, catalogs, social media graphics. Users can use those, customize, and share. Now, when you add the virtual sample add-on to this, it is massively powerful because they can now go into, say, for example, you made a lookbook for a new product line. They can go in there, upload a logo, and it'll automatically apply to all the products within that piece. So you're going to have virtual enabled catalogs, flyers, presentations, etc. So jumping back to our prototype, this is an example of how it would work. So imagine this is a presentation that I built with our new product line, and I added it as a editable template so that my sales reps can quickly pop the logo on all the products before sharing it with their customer. All they will need to do is open up that template, go to the design settings, go to the virtuals tab, and choose the logo that they want applied to all the items. So we already walked through this, but I'm going to go ahead and select the same logo. save my settings, and instantly that logo is now going to be applied to all the items. So whether there is just one page with 3 items or there is 50 pages with 4 products per page, all those products are going to have the logo appear in the primary imprint location. And I can click on each to configure them if I want to make changes. Then I publish and share, and I have sent a piece with virtual samples in it. So using virtual samples with the editable templates is a super powerful use case for our add-on. I just noticed I'm 5 minutes over time. I really apologize, everybody, but I will take some questions now. Feel free to type them in the chat box or the Q&A box, and we'll run through those. If you are short on time and you need to jump out and do want to chat, just reach out. We happily take a phone call or jump on a Zoom call after this. So that is our virtual sample plugin that we are building. It is exciting that we are going to be getting this out in the next couple of months. As mentioned, we have some suppliers that we're working with to get their data configured, so they will be the first ones with it. However, we can also get you on board once we launch it end of Q2. But let me see what questions we have here. So somebody asked if they can get the virtual samples out of the design. So yes. You will be able to download each individual virtual sample as well. So you don't have to send this whole piece. If you just needed the virtual sample, we can go in and actually download any of the virtual samples that have been created. This is what's going to be included in version 1. In a later version or later phase, we will be introducing some additional tools to export virtuals and actually choose the dimensions, the size, and the file formats. So there's a lot we're going to be doing with that. Also, we have integration for your website so that your distributors can actually create virtuals from their product pages and from your website. We don't have time for that today, but if you want to learn more about that, reach out and we can talk about it on a phone call. Another really good question here. So somebody's asking about imprint methods, like showing it embroidered or embossed, debossed, laser. We will be supporting imprint methods. This is going to be, again, on a second or third phase. But again, this is going to come back to your product data. So if we get your product data and we know that the imprint method is embroidered or debossed, I don't know if those go together, but the user will be able to see the imprint methods available, choose the one they want. And when they choose the one they want, that's actually going to add an effect to the logo that's placed on the item. So it will look like it's embroidered or look like it's debossed, etc. So we will definitely be supporting these effects. And just a side note, we actually already built a virtual sample tool for Sanmar. So we've been through the gamut of the challenges and solving and understanding. And a lot of that functionality is what we're going to be applying here. So imprint methods is absolutely going to be part of the tool. Can we make different logo default? So right now you'll upload one logo that will automatically apply to all items. We have discussed the possibility of being able to upload 2 variations of a logo, and depending on the dimensions of that imprint area, choosing the one or the other. So if it was a really tall imprint area, it would choose the taller default image and so forth. That is something we need to explore a little bit more. So it's not in our roadmap at this time. So the user would need to go replace the ones they want replaced one at a time. But it is something we can definitely improve upon. And that is how we build our technology. So everything we build, we iterate on, we hear your feedback, we look at areas we can improve and speed up. And I think this is something that we would definitely look at improving if it becomes a use case where most of the time people are using more than one variation of a logo on many products in their pieces. Somebody's asking about pricing. So that's a great question. So it is an add-on for ZOOMstudio. So if you have ZOOMstudio, you're going to have a one-time integration fee and an annual service fee to add the virtual sample add-on. If you don't have ZOOMstudio, reach out and we will give you your price on that. It's going to, again, be a one-time setup fee and then an annual service fee. And it is dependent on the number of SKUs that you have. So we'll need that information from you to be able to give you a quote on the tool. Let's see. All right. For those that were asking about the virtual tool, I'm sorry it took us a minute to get to it, but because it's an add-on for ZOOMstudio, we really needed to give the background in that tool. But again, if you want a deeper dive into any pieces of this, let us know, and we'd be happy to meet with you one-on-one. So you can shoot us an email at hello@zoomcatalog.com or give us a call. A couple questions about our website integration. Since we don't have time for that, we will do another demo day session about website integration. There are some super cool things you can do to bring the power of ZOOMstudio and the virtual sample add-on to your website visitors. So let us know and we can show you that, or you can attend the demo day on it. Somebody's asking how we get the data. So that's a part of the integration. We have 3 integration options available for getting set up. We, number one, use promo standards. So if you have promo standards, you're in a great spot. We can get the data that way. If you don't have promo standards, don't worry. We can use spreadsheets. It's less ideal, but it's possible. So we can take your data from a spreadsheet and update it every time you send us a new spreadsheet. And then we also have an API that you can implement to push data to us. If you're unsure which method is best for you, just reach out. We can chat, have a quick conversation, and assess what's going to work for you. Just a side note, we also have a custom integration option. So if you have your own API or a different data source, we could happily work with that. We just need to take a closer look. All right. I think I've gotten through most questions here. Again, if you have any other questions that come up, reach out to us. Also, we send out a changelog every month with new features and functionality that we've rolled out. We'll include that in our follow-up emails, so make sure you're subscribed to it. Then you're going to stay in the know as to what we're building, what's available, and what's new. If you're interested in being part of our launch program, reach out to us and let us know. We do have some limited spots on that, a couple remaining spots available for it. So we can chat about that and see if it's a good fit. Otherwise, we'll be rolling out at the end of Q2, early Q3. So let us know if you're interested. Get on that changelog. We'll send the follow-up. And if you need a deeper dive or would like a walkthrough one-on-one or to show your team, we'd be happy to set that up. I appreciate you all so much for joining us today, and we look forward to hearing from you. Hopefully we can make your lives easier by making it easier to create virtual samples. Thanks, everybody.